This segment of DoD TV is brought to you by MOTV, the exclusive digital home for all DoD Outdoor Channel shows.
Perfect spot for a big buck to come check in. Big buck. Wow, how unbelievable was that?
Small parcel, it's 80 acres.
We're going to make those acres the best acres they possibly can be.
Pretty awesome. It's about the work that you do, the thinking that you do, the planning that you do in the off seasons that always ends up yielding the success during the season. Find a better spot, make your spot better. We talk about it often and have for the last couple decades, and we're constantly trying to make our spots better, whether that be through habitat improvement, food plotting, overall access, location, whatever it is. Well, here's an example of exactly that. This is a parcel of ground that I was lucky enough to kill a good deer on a few years back, and we want to try and maximize this small parcel. It's 80 acres. I've got a plot. I've actually got 3 plots. We're going to put the 4th one in, and hopefully we hit the jackpot with this one. One thing we've noticed through time, all the deer come and go out of what is the heart of the beast. The actual fulcrum of all the different movement is down in this little wetlands bottom. And we've always said, man, if we could figure out the access, if we can get a plot in there, wouldn't it be amazing? Well, we went through the effort, and you're about to see it all unfold on deer season 22. We're trying to make this spot extremely better.
So back to another episode of deer season 22 and back to another farm that we're going to make better. Your Delta acres, we're going to make those acres the best acres they possibly can be.
So myself, Mark, and Perry, we all put our heads together and tried to figure out where exactly we wanted this food plot. And this whole bottom is 7 8-foot tall grasses throughout the whole thing with willows and cottonwoods mixed within. So it's just an absolute perfect spot for a deer bedroom. We've just been a little too hesitant to get down in there with the swirling winds and just intruding that deep into the farm.
Just to the east of this area is an old fence gap, and we hung a camera last year on this fence gap, and it was deer after deer after deer, and some really big deer that we weren't getting frequently anywhere else.
I always talk about putting cameras out to pre-scout a spot, not for in the moment, but for future years. That's exactly what helped us make decisions about this particular spot. I put 2 cameras out, one on a gate gap and one on a brand new water hole that we had put there. And I'm fairly certain I did interviews about that water hole saying, pre-scout this now to see what happens to make a decision about whether we need to increase food down here or whether we need to hunt it more next year.
So you hear us talk often about food plot architecture. Well, in this case, there's no food plot, but we've got heavy cover all the way around this particular area. Northwest wind will work, and we've got a water hole architecture, if you will. There's not a lot of water on this particular farm, so we put one here and one up by a clover field that we've killed deer off of before. So we added a little water this year. We're gonna monitor it with cameras and hopefully hunt it and see how it does. So sometimes the magnet doesn't always have to be food. Sometimes the magnet is water.
Well, we go in, check the pictures at both the gate gap and on this pond scrape, and the results were overwhelming. We were like, yes, it's telling us we need to be here, we need a plot, we need a blind, we've got to take the steps to get ready to take a couple of these different bucks. There's some really nice racks walking through this area that we weren't getting in many other places on the farm. Well, we're going to do what we have to do to hunt those deer next year. We're down here today looking at a potential new plot. It's a really wet area and we've had a lot of rain, so we might have to wait a little bit to come in here and get this cover off, but this grass is like, I don't know, 6, 7 foot tall. We got to get it out of here and try to go north up through there, get all these trees taken out, and then we've got a water hole right behind me, which you can't see because I'm gonna blow it, but well, it's actually right there. But we're gonna put the blind overlooking the water hole and then take the plot up to the north. And actually down here I've got my tracker on DeerCast maps. We're gonna walk out the actual exterior of the plot, and then we'll know once we get in here clearing exactly where we want it. Should be sweet though when we get it done. Pictures on that water hole last year were awesome. Add food down here in this cover. Look out. So we just got to the north end of the plot and there's a bunch of grass to the north. And Wade and I were talking about some areas we've hunted already, and we decided to leave that as opposed to put it in plot.
It's exactly like South Bowie wetlands. Those bucks stand right up out of that stuff. So I think it could be good. Make some sight lanes and be able to see it, and hopefully they're better right off our plot.
Hopefully Dakota will get in here and work this out. And then a lot of this is coming out. This will be green right back through here, all the way back to that water hole. So should be pretty awesome.
The blind's gonna be right here beside this pond. This whole bottom is gonna be food plot. It's gonna wrap around here, horseshoe around these trees, and loop back over there. Should be the perfect little pinch point for them. When our vision becomes reality, it's about a 27-yard gap from that pinch point to where the blind's gonna be. Plant radishes up here close to the blind, winter bulbs at a distance, and it will be death.
DeerCast is now supercharged with maps. Get ahead of your game with killer new features like live Doppler radar, wind check out to 5 days, virtual rain gauges, GPS path tracking, and more. Plus, get our 14-day revolutionary DeerCast prediction and access to DeerCast Track. Prep, predict, and pursue with DeerCast.
You know, the longer we do this, the more enjoyable it gets and the more ideas you get from previous setups. So we've got a lot of stuff going on down here. Number one, scent-proof blind. Number two, water hole that we created last summer. And then we've got a pinch point right out in the middle. All of these are elements that we've used in different plots, but we've combined them all here. We are surrounded by cover. We're down in the bottom, and we're really excited to see what happens on this plot this coming fall. We've put in some great plots, killed deer off of them, but we all have high hopes for this one, that's for sure. We're really excited to see what happens here.
I think it's gonna be perfect.
The A-team.
We're gonna kill a big one.
The A-team. This is a pretty spot. You can take a look around at it as they head out of here. I mean, it's as pretty as it gets. It's surrounded by cover and 0.9 acres per DeerCast map, so can't wait to get biologic down this bottom because everything else is tall cover. Woo! See there, double set from last year that we hung over the water hole. Brandon and Wade sat it, and two observations. Number one, all of the deer were out in that bottom, so we were like, all right, let's get rid of a little cover, add food. Number two, the wind blew every which direction down here. So we said, hey, the enclosed blind is going to reduce our scent stream and then get us closer to the action. So that's why you see that blind right there. Yep, there it is. Right there's our access. We're gonna come right down this hump right here. Not many cedars to cut out. Bring the X-mulcher into right here. Cross the fence right here. And therein you'll see the blind right there. Right through this, and we're in. I'm gonna mark a spot right here on DeerCast maps. Then when I'm up on that ridge, I will head to this spot to make sure I come out on the fence the correct way. All right, back in here at the new plot. The blind's in place, the plot has been worked out. Now, we got a lot of pictures in this gate gap, so I'm creating a new lane with the Vail X-mulcher from that gate gap down into our water hole, which will be obviously a chip shot for our blind. So they can either take this path to the field, be within 30, or they can go to the water hole and be within 15. So how's the saying go? You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Well, we're gonna lead the deer down here and see if they will drink.
So we got a neighboring farm that we can access right through the back door. It's big cedar farm, CRP and cedars. So we just walk in, we're able to slip right in the back of that blind and come and go as we please with that tall grass. Anything bedded down, won't have a clue in the world that we're there. Another thing that we take into consideration when building or picking a spot for a food plot is where is it going to shade first, because those deer, if you've seen in the past, they go straight to the shade every time that they walk out in the plot. I don't know if they feel a little bit cooler, a little bit safer, the little bit darker area, or what it is, but it seems like they love that shaded spot first. So we got a big hill to our west that'll allow those deer to work out further into the plot, closer within bow range, with still time left on the clock.
And so in the years past on this farm, Mark killed a deer called Big Frame, came from the area that we created the new plot, the big nasty jungle that's down there. It came up out of there into the green field we had, and he harvested him. And as well as that, last year Wade had a really good encounter with a 4.5-year-old up-and-comer that could be a target that we're gonna look for there on this farm this year. And the footage is so pretty and so good, and the deer works a decoy. It's just a really good, genetically diverse farm. There's a lot of deer in the area, and there's always a mature age class in the area as well. I got high hopes for this 80-acre piece, a new plot there. Not only do I hope we get some new deer to show up there, but I also hope that we get some familiar faces, some matures that we've had there over the years, and I hope this new plot puts one right in front of a Matthews bow come this fall.
We've had some pretty good success over the last decade, 2 decades. Terry's farm, my farms in Iowa and Missouri, and Wade and Perry and I talk about it all the time. It's not about going out there and pulling the trigger. It's about the work that you do, the thinking that you do, the planning that you do, and the effort that you put into it in the off seasons that always ends up yielding the success during the season. And here's another example of some of the things we do on the farm. If you look at many of our setups, we waltz in, we sit there, we see a deer, we kill it. Well, those setups don't happen without a lot of effort and without a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, especially sweat. That is how we kill our deer. We look at the cover, we look at the access, we look at the water, we look at the deer herd in the area, and we do everything we can to try and always optimize any given spot or any given herd or any given cover or any given food. It's all about optimization, and that comes with, looking at a farm in the past and then saying, what do we have to do in the future? That's exactly what we did here. Time will tell whether it works. I'm betting it's going to. We'll find out as deer season 22 rolls on.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV was brought to you by MOTV. For full episodes of 13 and all of our Outdoor Channel content, head over to the MOTV app and view it today.